Hi everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. I'm Ama Mama and I wanted to today just do a quick update on what I've been reading this week, how my March reading is going so far. It's not very far into the month and today's actually my son's 11th birthday, and so we've been out kind of celebrating for his 11th birthday today. But I still wanted to record just a short update. I definitely have not had as much time to read, the past week as what I had previously, as I'd mentioned before, with everyone being sick. But that being said, I still have read quite a bit in the grand scheme of things. I'm going to start with, I picked up the second book of the Red Rising trilogy, which I know that I'm like very late to the game and I'm not sure how I didn't realize this, but it's not even just a trilogy anymore. I think I read that there's like 6 books in it currently and a 7th one is getting ready to come out. So there's a lot more books in this series than I had originally thought when I started reading it. But I picked up the second book, Golden Sun. These are by Pierce Brown. And I was a little bit worried that I might have trouble getting back into it because I read the first one sometime last year, like late in the year. And so I wasn't sure, how it was going to be kind of picking up with this book when I hadn't just freshly read the first one, but surprisingly, it was fine. I did listen to some of this on audiobook, just because, I had stuff to do and everything. So I listened to part of it and I read part of it. I'm realizing that when I read, for whatever reason, I guess I read faster than what I'm listening to them on the audiobook, even if they are sped up. Because I timed myself because I was just kind of curious. So like one of the chapters had said that it was like 30 minutes to read the chapter on the audiobook, and so I timed myself reading it, and I think it was like 15 minutes for that particular chapter. But if I speed the audio version up to be done in 15 minutes, it's almost hard to understand. So I don't know what that means or what that says, but so I would go back and forth, and I might have listened to more of it on audio because I was enjoying listening to the story, but just for the time factor, I ended up going back and forth and reading when I had time. But overall I gave this a 4 stars. It was really good. I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to reading more of the books in the set. I don't have any of the other ones yet because I had been waiting. I wanted to make sure I actually liked the series before I bought too many of them, and so I just had the first 2, but I definitely will finish reading it. So in this book, again, it's kind of hard because if you haven't read them, they build upon each other, but in this one there's a lot more war kind of things going on, and they're not in school anymore, and Darrow, the main character, is he's infiltrated the Golds, and he's like going up in status and really trying to get to a point where he can make a difference for the Reds, and a lot of stuff happens, and he is someone who a lot of Golds especially, look up to. And so he has more people in his inner circle who know about him and things. And so it's kind of hard, again, with it being the second one in a series, it's hard to say a whole lot because if it's something that you're interested in reading, I don't want to give away too much of the plot points. But, it's just all about him trying to come up with a better solution for all the people that does not involve different groups of people being enslaved, and what that looks like. But he's also having to deal with what it means to him as someone who is now functioning at the highest level as a gold, where he had always seen those particular people as like maybe evil in general, but to see that not all of them are like that, just like not all of the Reds are good people. So it was good though. I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to reading the next one. I'm not sure when I'll pick up more in this series, but it'll be probably in the near-ish future, but probably not in the next, I don't know. I don't even know what I want to say there, but it'll be in the near-ish future. But it was good. I did enjoy it. Then I read Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, and I had been really looking forward to this one because I had not heard anything about it at the time I picked it up, and since then I've heard some people talk about it. Basically, there's a woman and she witnesses her son, who like just at the strike of midnight, has turned 18. She witnesses a murder, and she witnesses her son doing the killing. And obviously, she's shocked and all the emotions that go with that. But I was thinking, based on what I read in the back, because I don't know, I think I missed it, because it says like until you fall asleep and you wake up and it's yesterday, and then you wake up again and it's the day before yesterday. Every morning you wake up a day earlier, another day before the murder. And I think when I had read that initially, I skipped over some of it because there was a little blurb about it being kind of like a Groundhog Day, or maybe I had heard somebody say that, but kind of like the Groundhog Day movie where she's trying to solve this crime. But it literally, as it says on the back, like she's waking up further and further in the past every day and piecing together a little bit more and a little bit more. And given as I don't read a lot of mysteries, like I heard some people say that they didn't like this that much, but I thought it was really fun. I had a good time with the book. Every time I would kind of be like, oh, I know what's happening now. Like I would guess who did what or why they were involved and everything. Then suddenly like she'd wake up the next morning and there'd be a little more details. And it was completely, maybe not completely wrong, but it went a different direction than what I was expecting. So I really enjoyed that. So I was actually gonna give this book probably like a 4.5 stars because it was one that I was enjoying so much, but there was an epilogue at the end that was the only thing that I will say, it didn't ruin it for me, but it was really unnecessary in my opinion. And it almost, I don't know, it kind of took away from what had happened in the book. And so I really wish the epilogue had not been in there in this particular instance, because instead of like adding to or like enhancing or giving, I don't know, something that was needed to the book, I felt like it almost took away from it. So I ended up giving it 4 stars strictly because the epilogue, again, it didn't ruin it for me, but it definitely detracted from the book as a whole. I wish it hadn't been there, but it was a fun read, and I just had a good time reading this. Then I read The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And I've heard a lot of people reading this and, had a lot of good things to say about it. It's definitely YA, which, I do read some of, but usually it's that I'm reading it with my son, or sometimes I'll pick things up, depending on what it is. Like I'll read some YA. But again, I don't read a ton of like mystery per se, and this was really fun. Obviously, it was kind of an easy read because it's written for a younger audience. Nothing super, tension driven or anything like that. But the story was so fun, and so you're following, Cassie Hobbs, and there's other teenagers, and I might be messing up some of their names, but like Sloan and Leah, Dean, and Michael, I think, is the other one. But they're what are called naturals by the FBI, just meaning that they have like these natural abilities to do things that other FBI agents train for years to be able to do, like reading people's emotions, profiling criminals, statistical kind of things, telling if people are telling the truth, just these different things. And so Cassie in this first book gets recruited into that, and they're not really working, they're not supposed to really be working directly with the FBI. They're kind of like in training, and they're studying cold cases that they're supposed to be trying to solve. But anyways, overall, I enjoyed this. I read this all in one day, and that's why I said it's a fairly easy read. It doesn't take a whole lot of brain power, but it was really enjoyable. So even when it was getting later and later and I was like, man, I'm really tired, I need to go to bed, I just wanted to finish it because I'm like, oh, I'm so close to the end and I want to see how this first book ended up. So I definitely gave this a solid 4 stars. It was a lot of fun. It's definitely worth the read. I have the rest of the set on my TBR for this month. I actually, I haven't started it yet today, but I've got Killer Instinct out. So I'm going to start reading that this afternoon. But overall, I would definitely recommend it. I know what I was going to say. The only thing that I'm realizing is that, because there's a little bit of like romance kind of undertones. Well, they're not really even undertones, but there's like a little bit of like romance building, I'll say, happening in this book. But it's almost like a love triangle kind of thing. And I'm realizing that that's not my favorite kind of like trope when it comes to romance stuff. And I'm realizing that even though they're fictional characters, I don't like the idea of somebody getting hurt based on, you know, what somebody chooses or decides. And so that's the only thing that right now I'm not really caring for, because I thought it was going to be more like an enemies to lovers kind of thing for the romance that was starting. But then there's like this triangle kind of going on between, I don't know if this is a spoiler. If it is, if you don't want to hear this part, skip ahead a few seconds. But you know, like there's this little triangle going on with Cassie and Michael and Dean. And so anyways, that's not I'm just realizing it's not my favorite thing to read, because I find myself worrying about like, oh, somebody's feelings are going to get hurt. And I don't know. I don't like that very much. So I'll see what happens. And I haven't read any of the other ones, so I don't know how they progress in the rest of the stories, or if we get any more in that. I mean, with the way this ended, I assume we hear a little bit more about that, but I'm not sure, because my understanding from what I've heard other people on like in their booktube channels talking about, I think each of the books is focused on one of the other characters who are part of the Naturals program. So we'll see. But overall, it was a really good read. I did enjoy it. I'm reading, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm reading like 4 different books right now, including that I'm getting ready to start Killer Instinct, because I'm reading the Sherlock Holmes Treasury. I'm reading the Miss Marple short stories. I am listening to Alex Cross, Hope to Die, and then I'm getting ready to read Killer Instinct, and then I'm still listening to Fugitive of the Outlander series, which again, that one I don't have in any of my like TBR stuff. I'm just listening to it when I have time, because those books are so long on the audio versions. So I like to listen to them if I am not listening to another book and I have other things that I need to do, because I just like listening to the stories. So anyways, overall, it's been a good week. I read 3 books this week. I've got several more. I'm not sure with the short stories for Sherlock Holmes and Miss Marple, like if I'll have them read this week or if I'm going to kind of stretch them out. I'm actually enjoying the Miss Marple stories a lot more than I thought I was going to. And I already knew that I liked the Sherlock Holmes ones. So we will see. That's it. Like I said, I wanted to kind of keep this a little bit short, and I'll come on next week probably with another update of what I've read for this week. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week and take care and stay safe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.